After the Muslim rule, then the rise of the Crusaders, then eventually the Ottomans ruled that area, starting in about, let's say, 1517 or so. For the sake of ease, 1517, the Ottomans, which, of course, thus were part of the Ottoman Empire. If you remember your history, that was a powerful, powerful empire at the time. They ruled out of modern-day Turkey. And they were not Arabs at all, but modern-day Turkey ruled the Ottoman Empire over much of the Arab world. And they ruled the Palestine area from 1517 all the way up until about 1917. At the end of World War I, they were defeated by the British. All right, now, I mentioned anti-Semitism because that's a very important thing. It was arising in Europe, Western Europe. It also started to arise in Eastern Europe, in Russia. And then in the Enlightenment and in the Napoleonic Wars, actually, some of the Jews started getting some of their rights back and became citizens, and things were better for them in Europe for a while, but they got far worse for them in Russia. And so, particularly in Russia, they were suffering under this anti-Semitism there also. So some started to move to the land of Palestine. And the Jewish population of Israel or of Jerusalem increased. The Jews increased in Jerusalem significantly. Then anti-Semitism started to arise again in Europe, of course, with fascism, Nazism, but that is also a very important part. Anti-Semitism plays into the story tremendously. But back to this. As a result of anti-Semitism, Jews started to be stirred. Jews around the world started to have in their mind a thought. Would it be possible for Jews to have Israel, the land of Israel, as a homeland again? I mean, they had been dispersed amongst the nations for now almost 1900 years. Is it possible? Is that a dream? And they held on to this dream year after year after year. And one of the ways that you could see them holding on to that dream is that they would say a greeting or a statement to each other as they were departing. They would say, instead of just goodbye, I'll see you again, they would say, next year in Jerusalem. That's like, in other words, hey, maybe next year when we see each other, we'll see each other in Jerusalem. And that became the saying, next year in Jerusalem. You know, as you're departing, next year in Jerusalem. Year after year after year, they held on to that. Next year in Jerusalem, held on to it, held on to that hope, that hope, that hope. It was in their hearts. Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. They would pray for Jerusalem. Yerushalayim. It was deeply on the hearts of Jews, you know. Could it be that one day we could again have our land that God had given to us? It was a dream. But with rising anti-Semitism, there was no place for them to go. There was anti-Semitism in Europe, Western Europe, now rising Semitism in Russia and Poland and Eastern Russia. Where can they go? Many of them went to the United States, by the way. Many Jews went to the United States. Some went to Palestine. And so in late 1800s, 1896, 97, a very now famous Jew named Theodor Herzl wrote a book called Der Judenstaat in German, the German state, capturing that dream. And so then, the following year, established what became known as the Zionist Congress. And Jews from all over Europe and Eastern Europe were invited to be members of the Zionist Congress. A Zionist is one who believes in the land of Palestine as a homeland for Israel, Zion. Zion is named after the hill on which the temple is built. Zionists had that dream, so they had the annual Zionist Congress in Switzerland, Basel, Switzerland, if I recall. And Jews would come every year to discuss plans and ideas and thoughts and hopes for a homeland in Israel. Or wasn't just Israel. Actually, they entertained many Israel, the land of Israel was the dream, but it was owned by the Ottomans, and the Ottoman Turks were not keen on giving it to Israel, and so they were dreaming of all manner of places. In fact, the British Empire, wanting to help the Jews somewhat in this way, even offered them some land in Uganda. And in fact, sometimes they speak of this in Israel. Oh, we could have been in Uganda. That was rejected, of course. By the way, did you know that there was also a discussion about the New World, America, as being a Jewish homeland? There was even discussion of the Oregon Territory. Did you know that? That is a fascinating factoid. The Oregon Territory was discussed. Is there a possibility? Because, it was a wide open territory. Is there a place there that we can establish as a Jewish homeland? Arkansas was also considered. Anyway, that's all fascinating to me. So the Zionist Congress would meet every year, and then they put together a committee, an executive committee, a team of people that would go to various different governments, to try to advocate for the idea. Some went to the Turk government, asking and appealing, promising them great loans and things like this. They had no money, but they were grasping at anything if they could convince the Turks to give them the land.